Oh no, they're activating the FUPA brigade in Venezuela. Andele, senorita, as Maria is going to feed you empanadas until you get heart disease. I don't know what they're planning here. All of this is happening as the situation in Europe is a little bit more tumultuous than it is right now between the United States and Venezuela. As of course, it is also correlated. We'll tell you how in this particular video, as we have the rising of some very serious tensions and a very big grand statement made by the President of the United States that really should be concerning, to say the least. And that's why I'm deciding to do a geopolitical update with all the crazy news happening right now as UK fighter jets are now buzzing all around Poland in a way that is very troublesome, as it now looks like war is inevitable. It will expand. It will probably grow. And this is not good for all the parties involved here, including you, as Vladimir Putin had some very interesting things to say about Donald Trump's Golden Dome, as he actually issued Donald Trump an extension of a nuclear arms treaty, while, of course, setting up a new one with Iran. What in the world is going on here? We're going to be doing our best to make sense of that in this particular video with all the latest geopolitical news and updates that are happening right now that are worth paying attention to. And if you agree, subscribe, click the notification button. We greatly appreciate all the time that you, of course, spend with us. Now, all of this is happening as the war still rages on in Ukraine, as Russia has launched hundreds of drones and missiles across Ukraine. And personally delving and looking over this issue over the weekend, I could say, war is hell. It is brutal. Like, I'm just hearing frontline stories. I'm seeing, like, the kits that soldiers need to wear that are far more heavy. Like, the average soldier needs to have, like, 100 pounds extra of kit now because of batteries, because of high-tech integration, because of thermal guarding cloths that highlight this new form of technocratic war, which is just absolutely devastating for civilization, for humanity. And it looks like this will be continuing for a while. One of the things discussed that I saw from soldiers on the front lines is this new technique by the Russians that are launching these Iranian drones that are slow. Ukrainian air defense gets activated. When the Ukrainian air defense gets activated by these kind of slow-moving drones, then the Russians send in their missiles. And those missiles do make impact. Now, sometimes the missile defense systems don't hit their target. Sometimes they fall in civilian territories. Sometimes the Russians accidentally hit the civilian territories. But it looks like, as far as the cost of civilian lives here, I mean, listen, there still is a toll, but it is far less egregious than in many other wars and in many other instances. So all of this is happening as the Ukrainians are launching their own missile systems at Russian infrastructure, as now Zelensky is going to be calling for the U.S. to impose even stronger sanctions on Russia at the UN General Assembly. Will that actually happen here? This is something that, of course, Trump has been kind of thinking about. Trump has been threatening. Trump has been a little, let's just be honest here with us, a little wishy-washy on this particular issue. Sometimes he's heavy on Ukraine. Sometimes he's heavy on Russia. I think you need a dual-pronged approach dealing with this extremely convoluted, heavy issue that's not very easy to make sense of, right? The situation is not going to go away, especially now with the next big escalation here, and that's UK fighter jets flying over Poland. This is a part of, quote, NATO's Eastern Sentinel operation, which is a response to the Russians flying drones over Poland. Now, Poland did their best to shoot it down. Now, with the British Air Force there, they are going to try to make sure that Russian drone incursions never happen. It's also important to note here that there's also other incursions from NATO that are being reported in Belarus here, and it's a tit-for-tat type of escalatory situation. But as we told you a couple days ago, today's the 22nd, on September 15th, this was announced that the UK Air Force will be flying air defense missions over Poland, making sure that there are no incursions by the Russians. Now, the Russians previously flew their missiles over Poland. Now, there's also alleged incursions happening over Estonia. Estonia announced that they're going to be shooting down Russian aircraft if they make further incursions. That will, of course, spark up a big conflict. Donald Trump actually moved a lot of the military American resources away from Estonia and Lithuania and other eastern kind of bloc nations that are bordering Russia. As the UK has announced, we will confront Russian planes in, quote, NATO airspace, as the UK Foreign Secretary says that Putin is now risking an armed clash here. Now, we're going to see what happens here because, again, I've been saying this for like so many years now. All it takes is for one pilot to get lost. All it takes is from one low IQ military person. And boom. We sparked off a huge global conflict that there's no going back from. That is extremely escalatory now, especially with NATO forces, the Germans, the Swiss, and others now flying, intercepting drones, aircraft. And truly, this is a situation that I think could get very serious very fast here. As Donald Trump just said, yeah, anything happens here, we are going to back the Baltic nations right away, which would mean essentially World War III. As some people argue, we're already in it. As you're in it, as the purchasing power of the dollar goes down, make sure you spend it on cool things like the bestpoliticalshirts.com. So before playing Trump's clip, I just wanted to, of course, shill some of the shirts I'm wearing, like the shirt that I'm wearing right now, that says, this is me, this is the normies, and there's a big difference, as normies are filled with 72% seed oils, and I am filled with protein, freedom, caffeine, ignition, sovereignty, and Riz. That Riz located in a particular place here that is funny in my personal opinion. I like to have funny shirts. I like to make people laugh. If you want to find the shirt that I'm wearing right now, we have them available in women's t-shirts, tank tops, regular shirts, premium shirts. You just type in seed oils into thebestpoliticalshirts.com. You click here, bada bing, bada boom. We also released a new shirt paying homage and respect to, of course, Charlie Kirk with a very bold statement. And we have a lot of different kind of seed oil type of products and shirts that are available to you on the bestpoliticalshirts.com. And I truly I'm going to go through some of these. I'm going to delete a lot of them because a lot of them are very thematic and no longer apply to the national discourse. And I really, really do like making people think. I like making people laugh. There's a lot of positive messages. There's some that will be seen as controversial. If you have a controversial uncle that likes to say controversial stuff, this is the perfect way of him saving his voice and not needing to say anything, but discerning the proper people in his or her life. Or aunt. You got a crazy aunt? This is another good one that I really like wearing that gets a good response. If you trust the government, you don't know history. Great t-shirts, great way to express yourself, great way to do your silent forms of activism. But most importantly, find your tribe. Find like-minded males and females in your neighborhood. Get people to think, get interesting conversations. This is the kind of social mixture. People used to drink to be social. No. No. That's horrible. It's horrible for your pineal gland, horrible for your liver, horrible for your brain. The best political shirts, really great for allegedly all of those things. No, I'm kidding. Again, some of them are really... You got to have some cojones to wear some of these shirts. Thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Get them now. Let's go back to, of course, what's going on here as this situation is, let's just say, tumultuous, to say the least here, is Donald Trump, the president of the United States, was just asked, will you help defend Poland and the Baltic states from Russia if Russia keeps escalating?
President, will you help defend Poland and the Baltic states from Russia if Russia keeps escalating?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I would. World War III. Nuclear armed countries. Now, the posturing of Donald Trump is like, where's he at now? What is he doing? Which country is he behind now? It's a little confusing here. And, I think the peace process has been given up on. Communication has stopped. Negotiations have stopped. We were very close. And then it just Kaput. Yeah, tsukai. None of that. And it's like, what? I think this is the key, most important issue of our time, especially with the escalations, especially with the Slavic life loss. Slavic Lives Matter. We have a shirt about that. You just type in Slavic Lives Matter. You can find it on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. They're losing their lives in record numbers. For what? It's ridiculous. It's stupid. It is hurting the global economy. It is hurting energy resources. Price of energy going up here in the United States. Lots of things that just don't make sense here. Russia and China becoming more and more aligned with each other. And this is just a conflict that is very fatiguing, very tiresome. And I wish we could have nice things, but we can't because we have warmongers. We have a military-industrial complex. As the latest news coming in right now is that Russia is now accusing Estonia of violating its airspace. As people are saying, no, that never happened. Estonia, just a few days ago, this past Friday, said that 3 Russian MiG-31 fighter jets have entered its airspace for 12 minutes. Now, whether this was deliberate escalations, whether this was poking and prodding, seeing the defensive positions here, whether it was not, obviously the country of Estonia that sees itself as a country that is threatened by Russia, that Russia has previously threatened before, sees as a major escalatory kind of marker here, especially now with Donald Trump pulling away resources from Estonia and Lithuania here. Now, Estonia just invoked NATO Article 4, and that is a very serious provision that is of course, one step behind NATO Article 5, which is the mutually assured defensive pact here. Now, NATO Article 4 is a provision in the North Atlantic Treaty, in their founding documents, that allows any member country to request urgent consultations with the other members if it perceives a threat to its territorial integrity, political independence, or security. It essentially is a diplomatic alarm bell, triggering meetings in the North Atlantic Council, NATO's top decision-making body. But it doesn't automatically require military action or invoke the Alliance Collective Defense Clause, which is Article 5. This is what a lot of people are worried about because one country gets attacked here, other countries get involved here, and then we have the story of Europe destroying itself and taking the lives of vast majority of its people that are now being replaced by third world migrants that they're allowing to come into their countries and be given socialism by the remaining people there. Weird type of scenario and situation unfolding there, to say the least here. Now, the Independent is reporting how Russia is acting reckless here with their aggression over Estonian airspace, as many people in the UN Security Council are condemning that action here. Now, all of this is happening as there are still nuclear trade deals, negotiations happening between Putin and Trump in order to limit the arsenal in both of the countries. Now, are people going to be abiding by that? There was a major nuclear treaty that was violated by Ukraine when they bombed their nuclear aircraft carriers. And because of that, people were asking the questions, oh, Russia was so stupid. They just left all of their nuclear air force on show. That was a part of a nuclear arms treaty, by the way, that not a lot of people understand, that they had to keep up out there so satellites could see where their nuclear aircraft are, right? A part of a nuclear treaty. That treaty was violated, and now it looks like negotiations are definitely going to be very difficult to have here. As now, Putin is even mocking the Golden Dome idea, which, you know, originally was thought to be built by Elon Musk and his kind of space satellite technology. It's also important to note here that Russia is building their own satellite technology and internet communication systems, as of course Starlink has been one of the major reasons why Ukraine is able to defend themselves as well as they have been. Elon Musk has donated Starlink. Russians have threatened to take down Starlink. Now the Russians are creating their own Starlink, their own kind of satellite communication and surveillance type of systems out there. As now Donald Trump is looking to expand that, and now Putin is mocking this idea of a Golden Dome type of idea. Now, this is what Vladimir Putin said himself. Quote, Russia is capable of responding to any existing and emerging threats, respond not with words, but by using military technical measures. As an example, this is our decision to abandon the unilateral memorandum on the deployment of land-based intermediate and short-range missiles. This was a forced step, specifically talking about how a lot of the treaties there are being violated, and a lot of the treaties will no longer be kind of respected here. Now, this is a nuanced topic because it looks like Putin is extending one treaty before talking about that. Putin specifically talking about this grand plan by Donald Trump, launching a missile defense dome in space, saying that it could be a, quote, an undermining of strategic stability. Now, why is he saying that? Well, because, listen, when you put up things in space, you're dealing with uncharted territories. This is one reason why Donald Trump in his first administration started the Space Force, because he saw what the Russians and Chinese were doing in space. The Russians have a lot of kinetic space weapons. We're not talking about Star Wars here. We're talking about real-ish, okay? We're talking about hypersonic ballistic missiles launched from space. Boom. You don't even need propellant. You do not need gas. You do not need rocket fuel. You just need gravity. And you go up all the way, and it obliterated, turns everything to dust. And they have already used some of these systems in Ukraine. After the Ukrainians decided to use long-range missile systems deployed to them, given to them, aided and abetted, and pretty much done everything by the West for them to launch it, Putin said, "Yeah, all right. Here's our intermediate space weapons," and everyone's like, "Why is everything here turned to dust?" That's because we're dealing with space weapons. Okay. Some people are even hypothetically saying that Donald Trump used space weapons to deal with the Iranian nuclear threat. Again, that hasn't been confirmed. I know we have one official version of events, but listen, we're dealing with new layers. Now, Putin specifically sneered at Washington, quote, playing Star Wars, saying that Moscow is ready to respond with real firepower. If Trump wants a shiny space umbrella, Putin's promising thunder. That's essentially what is happening here. Putin also came out and said that the West provoked this Ukraine crisis. It wasn't a, quote, Russian attack. Clearly, it was Russia that attacked first, right? Clearly, it was Russia that made these military maneuvers. And then, very luckily, specifically with the weather, specifically with some Russian blunders by their military, they were not able to get into Kiev. But listen, if it wasn't for the weather, if it wasn't for blunders of some Russian generals, the Russians could have had Kiev here. Let's just be real and honest with ourselves here. As now, Putin is actually offering Trump a 1-year extension to a nuclear weapons treaty. We'll see what the United States responds to this. As, of course, the U.S.-Russia arms control treaty is due to expire in February. Putin is saying, just give it 1 more year, as the treaty limits nuclear weapons in both countries. Now, if this gets approved every single year here, this is also very telling, because it is highlighting how everything is dependent on the situation and what will happen here. Now, Russia also just signed a new nuclear deal with Iran, as they're expected to construct new nuclear power plants in Iran. And this, of course, will be very much angering the Israelis, which Donald Trump is doing almost everything for, especially when it comes to their kind of expansion of the conflict inside of Gaza right now, along with new weapons deals for them. All of this while a lot of people are like, hey, can we not attack Gaza? Now, this is what's really interesting here. Donald Trump was allegedly pissed at Israel bombing Qatar and the diplomatic negotiation team of Hamas that was in the midst of negotiations with them, essentially highlighting negotiations are over. Some people say that was a very kind of big mistake. Trump was allegedly mad, but I don't think he was, because he didn't do anything to show that he's mad, other than like these like rumors behind the scenes that really didn't manifest in anything solid. Now we have Donald Trump arming and giving Israel more of a weapons deal. That doesn't show that they're mad. That shows that they're getting a gift. It doesn't make sense here. Now, Trump also doing this H-1B visa fee, which is predominantly hurting India, as Donald Trump has single-handedly pointed out to India for buying Russian gas and oil. China does it too. But we give China a lax on tariffs. Very serious tariffs against India, and now a $100,000 H-1B visa fee, which some people on the right are like, great. Yeah, great. I like it. As now we are having a lot of people in the tech sector and The Guardian saying, no, $100,000 fee. This will hurt us, as some people are saying. Don't care. Now, again, this issue is very convoluted. It's very serious. Now, again, some military sources are saying this violation of Polish airspace was a mistake. Some people are saying it was done on purpose. Listen, Russia did this to Estonia, whether that was a mistake or not. They also did this to Romania. There's also a lot of serious considerations of Moldova. I think Romania is going to be the next Ukraine, in my own personal opinion, especially with the way that they're arresting their right-wing political figures there. Moldova, caught in a very tough situation, is going to see what they are going to be doing as they're caught between the rift between Russia, Ukraine, and NATO. So the situation, not a good one. And I think it's only going to get sadly worse from here. I hope not. I pray not. This war should end. If you agree, share this video. Where do you see this thing going? Let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for purchasing t-shirts on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys doing that. The link is down in the description below. Go check it out. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/wearchannel.